Yeah, you're right.
I
Like,
just
there's
think
no
the
like,
rest of us sucks.
yeah, there's no 75 to 80. It's like you're either 85 or you're like 70.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna kick off in the top right with Reynor, blue Zerg from Kaiser Gaming.
And bottom left, his opponent, Clem, representing Team Liquid.
What time are you at? Just to make sure we're synced.
29, 30,
Oh yeah, we're good.
31.
Cool.
Okay.
Just worth checking.
Nice.
Every time I try and cast it with Hearthstone, his stream is like 3 seconds behind or something. It's that Dutch internet.
Yeah.
So it's just not good.
Yeah. Clem actually going gas first. I asked Clem if he wants to play warm-up games because I'm generally struggling to find practice games. So whenever I see someone that has a Zerg opponent, I'm like, okay, do you want to play? And yeah, he didn't respond till 10 minutes ago where he just told me he woke up. So
this is what Clem always does in WTL. Like every week he's like, yeah, I just woke up. But it's like,
yeah.
me. Well, if you woke up an hour earlier, played a little bit, and then played your best games, you know? It's,
yeah, this is also how we snipe him every single time in the team league, because he always usually goes last. Simply because of that. Like if we have the first game, he's always last, so we always get Bjorn against Clem, and then Bjorn wins, and then we have an easy match.
Oh my god, the mind games! Wow, that's
yeah,
the master plan.
Yeah, you would think they are actually also mind gaming, but they just send him last anyways because they know otherwise he's just gonna oversleep.
They're just playing to their best strength, which is giving Clem as much time as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, yeah. So I mean, gas first. But what do you think? I mean, obviously, Data C comes down to being one of the more standard maps. Big macro game here. We're expecting maybe Clem to try and get aggressive early and try and take an edge.
Yeah, could be some Hellion drop or Hellbat stuff. He usually plays the Hellbat stuff always on the good Terran maps, which I think is pretty dumb. So maybe now for once does it on a good Zerg map. Obviously, this is a good draw for Kaiser in this matchup that they got Data C first, but I think on the second one it's Moondance, so it kind of evens out. And then the sides are flipped. So I think overall, yeah, pretty balanced in terms of luck. And we'll see what it does.
Yeah, as this Reaper comes up, gonna dance with the Zerglings just a little bit, of course, and try and get rid of some of these. At least bring them low, maybe threaten a Crypt Tumor initially, but tough to do when you're up that ramp, and Reaper just backs away for the moment. Reynor gets his third base down. Clem is gonna go into his starport, just playing that double gas again, no 3cc, which I feel like lately Clem has been like, I mean, you know, he's always kind of about the 3cc stuff, but more so than ever, he's been like just triple CC all the time, so it really is quite a big switch up from him in my eyes.
Yeah, he does this build every once in a while. So I said Hellion drop and he's gonna do it. Just one Hellion drop and then either Liberator or go back with a Starport. Could even be Proxy Liberator, that's what Special sometimes likes to do. I think the drop is a little bit better, but with the Liberator you can also YOLO your Hellions at the same time. Either way, Reynor should already know that it's cast first based on the Reaper timing if he paid attention. So he should play a little bit more careful, because very often when they do that, they do YOLO in their Hellions with gas first, so I'm expecting him to make a bunch of links, and then if you have the links, all you need to do is basically be in position.
Be in position, don't let the Hellions get into that mineral line, and let's see. Then the Terran usually has a bad time, so that's what the goal will be, as our medevac is going to be finished soon though, so we can obviously dive by with the drop as well. And Clem's just going to try and be as annoying as possible. Reynor does have spotting overlords in position though, so you should at least get a little bit of a heads up on this. He's going to have some prior warning, and he's going to see it right now, so he can start getting his links into the main. There's a couple already here, but only a couple. And Clem's going to start to fight those initial ones, and Reynor just going to drop the Evo chamber, but this is just going to be links for Hellions.
Yeah, I don't like that he split the Reaper into Overlord range, because then Reynor instantly knew what was up and went there. Because if you see with the Overlord, okay, now the Reaper is alone.
Yeah.
Like, what are the Hellions going to be doing? Obviously, they're going to be inside the medevac, so it's a pretty good start for Reynor.
Yep. Yes, good defense, stops that down initially, and Reynor going to take his webcam off, as I think he has some internet issues at his new place at the moment. I feel like he's had this a couple of times. I haven't talked to him, but I assume so.
Yeah, he asked his brother. Well, he was looking for a new apartment in the Netherlands, and then he asked his brother how good their internet was at the new place of his parents. And he said, I guess it's fine. And then he actually checked, and it was like 70 ping to Europe, so it's not great.
70 ping to EU.
Yeah.
That's a little painful to say the least. Jeez. All right, well, we're back into it. Obviously, no major delay apart from apparently now we're gonna have WTL music playing over everything. So I'm sure they'll fix
Surely
that.
they're gonna. Surely they're gonna realize.
They fix it. It just takes a few moments sometimes. They remember that they turned it on.
They were quick with replacing the image at least.
Yeah, they fixed Reynor's photo instantly, but the WTL backing music, that one's just gonna stick with us while we watch these Hellions cruise around and look for openings.
Yeah, it's not fitting. It's an epic music and nothing is happening.
It's like, oh my god, they're driving on creep again. Oh no, they're not.
Yeah.
I think it's even worse because I've listened to this for literally like hours at this point in the season. I'm so done with it, and now it's just here, the pain. And you've got the StarCraft music behind it as well, creeping through. That's actually truly bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great.
I'm gonna tell them. Hang on. Oh.
Oh, they,
See,
they figured it out.
They realized I was about to jump in the Discord. Like shit, Wardy's mad.
Okay, so he's following it up with tanks. I mean, honestly, this late game, this early game is pretty bad for Clem already. He's gonna have a decent tank push with like 3 medevacs and 1-1. That's gonna be like his best chance at doing stuff. But if that trades poorly, I think it's super Reynor favorite.
Yep. No, absolutely. It's gonna be interesting as we said. These few Hellions gonna get rid of quite a bit of creep threat, so that's something at least for Clem. Deny that creep a little bit. Obviously, Queens can replace it, but just slowing it down, at least giving you some potential pathways later on. Yeah, I mean, Clem just needs to take whatever he can get at the moment because work account hasn't been good for a while. He's got a medevac that doesn't get anything done either on the right side. And Reynor's already setting up for the run by on the third base as well. It's just already looking to make Clem's life even more difficult.
Yeah, and he can use it as a flank as well if there's stuff at home, but there's no stuff at home, so if Reynor goes now, which, man, he actually hits the perfect timing there. Knows exactly when the first 2 medevacs are out. And yeah, this is looking even worse now for Clem.
Yeah.
Who will have to do severe amount of damage with the actual push.
Yeah, needs to get a lot done as the Marines try and sit in the corner. They will get there, but only at the cost of even more SCVs. 14 dead. You start to push forwards here, and well, Reynor needs some units. The Queens are going to get chased down, and Clem going to go after those. A couple of Overlords as he goes as well. It's quite a few Queens. There are Banelings morphing. We have a couple ready. No Bane speed yet, so Clem's Micro has an opportunity here, and he's going to get the 4th base. So, I mean, for Clem, it is starting to get work done.
Yeah, that's definitely good. That's the least amount of damage that he needed to do. I still think it's pretty good for Reynor, but this is nice for Clem, who is now unsieging the tank to try and save it, and he can run away because there's no bailing speed. And he still has high bet, so the link flank actually doesn't completely catch the Marine, so he actually does get out of there as well, which was important. Both players start there 2-2 right away. Very early upgrades from Reynor, who prioritized his upgrades over bailing speed. That's why he's trouble defending his space here.
Yeah, that's actually just a nice little run back from Clem, able to maintain position there, and he's going to defend this run by 2. So Clem making a couple things go in his favor after a rough start. Definitely getting a helping hand when he needed one the most, and even bunkering up, realizing that further run-bys of Reynor are absolutely a possibility. He's just going to start prepping against those immediately. Is this awkward for Reynor now with the base coming up on the top side? Is that an issue? Is that easily pushed by Clem, or is it not so bad? Is it just kind of fine?
I think it's fine with the 3rd base that he took. It's pretty easy to take the top left base because he already does have creep here. Clem, remember, he does not have a 4th CC even started yet, so Clem still needs to do a little bit more damage. The only thing that surprised me a little is that Reynor does not have a Hydra then yet, because he's actually 5 gas. So I think he's gonna either be super bailing heavy or gonna start to float some gas the further this game goes. But I think Hydra then and Infestation Pit should be on the menu next for him.
I guess some of that tech has the Infestation Pit at the very least. Medivac's evacuate in the center. Clem just trying to maintain his units and his drops around the map so he can keep up this pressure and continue to find some of those possible openings. As yeah, Clem did lose a few units there, but took down some Zerglings as they showed us the battle report for a split second. And otherwise, yeah, Reynor even getting into the burrow play, so maybe some cheeky burrowed Banelings around the map are coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, and now that I actually see that Reynor wants to go Ling Bane into Ultra, I like this more and more for Clem, because then you don't need to do damage right away because you will actually trade effectively for a long period of time with the mines. Clem also with the right call to go into the mines, obviously, from the from the siege tanks, and now, just now, he starts the Hydra Den, so there won't be any Hydras for quite a while.
Is this Reynor kind of realizing he just needed the Hydra Den because Lingbane Ultra's not going to cut it? Is that something he could have maybe decided sooner, do you think?
I think he was worried about an 8-Rex because he didn't see a 4th CC in between the bases. Because usually with the run-by, you scout at the same time, and he checked very late even, and there still was no 4th CC, so he probably thought he was being tank Holland. That's why he didn't get the Hydra then.
Makes sense then. So Clem now getting that 4th base in position. Another run-by coming in from Reynor. Clem needs to obviously defend this, and he loses a few SCVs, but not much more. Obviously just needs to hold that position till the planetary is up will help a lot. And once again, needs to be careful here. The first Widow Mine, though, will potentially go off. Hits a few of the Lings on the bottom side. There's another one here that will hit decently, and the tank got a couple of shots as well. But Clem just going to have to retreat away, and even these medevacs are not able to unload there. And now Clem going to have to pull all the way back, as Hive is about to kick in from Reynor. So he really can access some extra tech, and especially, you know, Lurkers on the way up as well. Get them Lurker upgrades started, and really make this a late game where Clem's going to have to tech up into those ghosts.
Really good resource loss though for Clem so far, so he's definitely back in this. Maybe even with a slight lead. Already has 8 barracks going on right now. Does not know about the Lurker then yet, but he does have 4 Rex with tech left, so once he starts the Ghost Academy, he should be fine against that. And yeah, this is like the only path of creep that Reynor really has. Reynor's creep is not everywhere on the map, and the only place where it actually was extending very far was there. Shooting Ling counterattack gets 1 tank, but so many Widow Mines here means that that's about it.
Yeah, the mine's pretty good there, as these Widow Mines go pretty good as well. I'm a group of Lings at the very least, and then the Bane lanes having to be used to clean them up as well at the end. So Clem taking quite a sizable supply lead, trying to push up to the top side. This is where you really need those Lurkers just to help you defend while on lesser supply, but Reynor just doesn't have them for a little bit. He's got to get them morphed, and even then they're not quite going to have the range. So opportunity still around from Clem, as it looks like Reynor will get to the Lurkers at least, and that should help him to stay alive and hold Clem off until he techs up into those ghosts.
Yeah, for sure, but you don't really want to start Lurkers before 3-3 unless you want to hit a timing, which I don't think is what Reynor wants to do here. So it's pretty good for Clem, as long as he realizes the fact that there's Lurkers. He still didn't see them so far, but yeah, those last couple of Widow Mines, like the last 6 big Widow Mines we saw, really turned this game like into a tempo advantage for Clem, who now can push freely on the map. Now he sees the Lurkers, Ghost Academy already on the way, 3 extra CCs on the way already, and still no 3-3 from Reynor.
Yep, that set of upgrades completely missing as the Lurkers will force Clem back. He's building a lib. He added on a bunch of CCs in the Ghost Academy, just general preparation for a later stage of this game. As these Lings definitely, I think, want to try and bait over this little Baneling burrow, so maybe if you could do that, that would be nice. Gonna run this way, and here we go! Massive Baneling connection is gonna land, and there it is. Huge connection for Reynor and Clem. First time noticing that there's burrowed Banes on the map.
Yeah, not too bad though. Clem actually needed to lose some supply, otherwise he could have never started the Ghost. Which means he doesn't have Ghost yet though, and he's completely out of position for those Lurkers, which do have range already. He does get deterred by that one Liberator. I feel like if he ran in there, it would have been really hard to clear for Clem. But even now, it's still very hard to clear. He doesn't have any tanks. The first Ghosts are just now on the way. Yeah. And he only has 1 Lib so far, so I don't know, he needs to pick off like 1 Lurker at a time with scans, yeah, just like he's doing now.
Those Lurkers going to set up on the other side. The Liberator just needs a scan to get rid of a couple of them. It's kind of sat in range. The Ghost started to run towards that Lurker run as well, so we'll hopefully see that cleaned up as Ling's getting hit by Widow Mines, or maybe not, who knows. The Observer doesn't want to watch anything right now as multiple Lurkers go down. And yeah, these couple on the left side get cleaned up. So Clem is going to survive what was a very dangerous moment, as he just didn't have his tech or the position really set up at all. Now that he's pushed this back, he does have that tech coming online. It looks as though he should be okay.
Yeah, he's 8k resource lost ahead still, and that's mostly due to Widow Mines only, pretty much. I'm pretty sure as the Observer went away, that was a massive mine hit as well. And he just randomly places them on the map as well. And he keeps making them, even though he's up against Lurkers. He feels like, okay, this is mostly Ling Lurker. My opponent doesn't really have gas to go like Hydra Lurker with some Vipers, so the mines are working quite well here.
We've seen the Ling Bane running through, a couple of Lurkers quite far back, not really joining into this fight. We'll have the Planetary to help out here as well, and don't think this is anything that Reynor can continue to push into. Clem will chase toward the Lurkers. His first snipe starting to come down as well, and starting to coat those Lurkers just a little bit. And Reynor can obviously fall back to the burrow, but he's going to struggle to push further forward with Clem now set up on this high ground. Nice
oh wow,
well.
Clem, yeah, he even feels like he can send the Liberators to the other side of the map. Those Liberators are super nice defensively because you don't really have Hydras here, or not at least enough to clear Liberator lines, nor do we have Vipers, but Clem is confident enough to send him to the other side of the map, and now he's harassing 2 bases at the same time while he's just holding the high ground here with Ghosts and Widow Mines, and it's starting to look worse and worse for Reynor, who's super committed here. Like, this is basically a lurker all in if you want. He never started 3-3, he never really droned up further. No 100 drones, no further attack. So he needs to do something here, and he basically lost all of his lurkers. I don't think there's much he can do here anymore. I'm not even sure that he has the Hydra upgrades, or the range. Yeah, the speed rather.
Yeah, this timing is completely done, of course, and Clem is going to push it back. Has been expanding throughout, has CCs to spare. Obviously, this harassment has hurt Reynor heavily because he didn't really have drones to spare either. Like you said, he never set up for the huge macro game, and Clem is held off the scariest part of this game for now, at least, and obviously should be in the driver's seat a little bit because he's got all these upgrades that Reynor hasn't invested into, the 3-3 missing. And yeah, Liberator is still harassing as well, and Reynor is struggling to deal with this, doesn't have spores on each base, and they're just kind of being pulled apart at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, this is what's so nice about TVZ. Even though Clem had a pretty bad early game, he can always come back with these just good mid-game interactions. You can really see the tempo shift from Reynor's advantage from the first run by to him still losing a base, and then over a prolonged period of time, because you can't really kill one another in this matchup very easily. The Widow Mine's just tilting the favor more and more so into Clem's favor, and then the attack just not working out. So now I think Reynor is just hoping to get a massive surround with a Ling lurker heavy army, but catching the ghost is very difficult with that because, well, you don't have anti-air really, so usually they can just pick up.
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, this forward base from Clem gets slowed down, but he's not super eager to get it, right? I mean, it'd be nice, but he doesn't need this base right now as the Ghost just set up some snipes. The Lurkers keep dropping, and it's just Lings, man. Like, they're not scary. If they run in here, they're going to melt, and yeah, it just doesn't feel good at all. A couple of Ghosts start to go down, and just trying to still get those snipes off, trying to pick off Lurker by Lurker, just break this position down, and it's costing Reynor a lot of money.
I'm very surprised Clem's not making more Liberators, because there's actually no anti-air here, and I mean, he has enough medevac, so he can just use the starport. But other than that, he's playing everything like you expect him to. Like, super well. He always has map control on both sides, so he can see where the big armies come from. And then he also has the sensor towers just in case he misses something. So he's safe, and he just always rotates with Reynor's army. He wants the Ghost to be exactly where the lurkers are at, and then as long as he keeps sniping, he always has some good trades. And he just has so many Widow Mines still, so the Zerglings have a very tough time to be effective as well.
Yeah, that mine just getting multiple shots off in that mineral line, and obviously you see mines just around the map repeatedly have such a good time so far in this game, and Reynor is adding some extra Banes on at least, something that maybe help him out. Clem even investing just further into his setup, right? 2 more factories, 2 more command centers, and all of the additional final upgrades of this game, Neo Steel Plating and all the rest, just high-tech order tracking, just making this late game as difficult as possible for Reynor to break through, and even just keep bits of harass like this. 6 more drones in a game where Reynor only sits at 65. Those few workers mean a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, Reynor also didn't really get a new base for quite a while. He's only trying to fight for this rich gas base, and now the lurkers are dying. It's just way too many ghosts. So even though a lot of the snipes get cancelled, you just rapid fire snipes, and it's hard to kill any of those ghosts, because I don't know if the viewers know this, but you can just shift click back the ghosts and then the lurkers will never kill them. So you just queue up the snipes and then you go back. So unless you have the Link Bane to jump on them, it's not much you can do. Oh, really nice drags there on the Widow Mines. Sadly, it's still not enough to kill the ghost, but
very close.
Yeah.
Really nearly kind of got them, so that would have been something. So Reynor trying everything he can, utilizing every opportunity perhaps on the table for him as he tries to press forward here. Once again, these Banes going to hit this mineral line. Planetary Fortress perhaps falls, but I mean, Reynor is going to be pretty committed here with these units. The Ghost on the right side still holding strong. I'm kind of expecting an army of Clem to show up on the left at some point and just to truly wipe this out, but hasn't shown up with it just yet. But like I say, it really feels like there should be a moment or two where that kind of happens, and then Clem is going to be very comfortable clearing this out and putting out this game, because again, the supply is massively in his favor. He has a bank, Reynor does not. And again, he's just controlled this game very well so far, as Lurker's still just poking away up the ramp and just going to have our Lings running forward here, but that's going to be a Widow Mine shot onto a bit of Ling Bane already.
Yeah, and the Ghosts are pretty much unkillable for Zerglings only, so because there's more medevacs over there that every single Ghost has a personal healer. And now the army from the left is coming as well, because Clem is maxed. This right side is just like 30 supply worth of units, so...
Yeah.
And maybe can't run down the ramp just like that, but if he does it any other way, I'm sure he can clean up this army.
Reynol's going to come to him, which is obviously going to make it a little bit easier. Just going to try and keep those snipes coming. At some point, Reynol's not going to afford this. As don't know if the SCV should run through the lurk position to try and start mining. Don't know if we're that eager for a new base, Clem, but at the same time, was it really matter too much? Probably not. These ghosts continue to just snipe down lurkers, and at this point, we kind of know how these fights will continue to look as the ghosts do pull away. Reynor taps out GG, and Clem gets a very important first map win for Liquid in this best of 7.
Yeah, this is super important, and this was also on a good Zerg map, which, I mean, doesn't really...
Well, game number 2, we go into Cosmic Sapphire. We're going to start off in the top left. Kaiser Gaming, it's Reynor.
And his opponent, up 1-0 for Team Liquid, is Clem. And I also want to say it is a little bit more important, I think, for Clem to win these maps, because I think time is a little favored against mana. And the other match is pretty much 50-50, so
yep.
A 2-0 here would be really nice for Team Liquid.
Yeah, I think a 2-0 is kind of on the path to what they need almost. Like, it's definitely possible without a 2-0, a 1-1, but yeah, obviously then it's still up in the air. Potentially comes back around to an ace match, which could be scary as well, so, you know. I mean, and an ace match as well doesn't really help either of these teams too much, because they really want to get ahead of the other team rather than kind of just still being close, and they want to make a gap. You know, this is the chance to get away from that kind of lack of playoff lines, so this is where it kind of has to happen.
Yeah, actually, ace match would be pretty nice for Kaiser, because they're 9 maps ahead in the map score, and they're 1 point ahead. So yeah, if Kaiser loses in an ace match, they're still ahead of Team Liquid. So that's so they want at least the ace match. Yeah. So for Team Liquid, the 2-0 would be huge, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Team Liquid really need they just need everything Team Liquid, right? Because they're definitely the ones trailing still going into it. So yeah, if Liquid can win without an ace, then it really would be a turning point in the season for them, because they've really struggled this season. Like, Liquid even lost a couple maps to Cranky Ducklings, you know, like, just feels like Liquid never make it easy on themselves.
I don't know what's up with Team Liquid in this team. Like last season already as well, they went like 0-8 or something. Yeah.
Like they just kind of flopped every time, and even when they win, like they always have to go to the ace and like drag it out, even though they're kind of favored in the matches to win before the ace. I'm like, God damn it, Liquid. We have 1 week where we just do like okay without like flopping a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how much they take this league seriously, but I think Shopify does better than we are on paper, because all of our players prepare specifically for their opponent every single week. But for Team Liquid, I feel like Clem just wakes up for the game. Laser just comes back from a run, and then just kill us in mana. Because on paper, like Team Liquid should be very similar in strength, I think, to Shopify. They have Clem instead of Bjorn, which is similar strength. They have Miko instead of me, and then Diego instead of Scarlet, Mana instead of Hearthstone. Yeah. But for some reason, they just suck in the team league. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, maybe Clem just needs to wake up the hour earlier. You know, there was one time we saw Clem awake early, and he was actually practicing with Diego when they both had TVTs. So at one point, it happened once. Not sure why. Well, what happened? Maybe the first series took like 3 hours or something, so Clem was really just awake early. So, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Diego must have called him or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only way Clem wakes up. Diego tells him, get out of bed. We're practicing now.
You know what? The 1 week Diego actually was on vacation, and he told me they called him because not Clem was missing, but Elazer was missing against Cranky Ducklings. And Clem already lost the map, so they almost went to the ace against him because he didn't show up for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I remember this as well. And we just sat waiting. I was like, guys, come on. Oh. I've definitely had that with Miko a few times when I'm like, hey man, the tournament start games now. He's like, huh, I'm halfway through my run, and I'm like, how long is it going to take you? And he's like, I'm probably about an hour to get home. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. I think he just doesn't think too much about those. He definitely doesn't have a schedule. He just rolls with it. Yeah. Couple things. Fighter Reba here is coming out of the little lag pause. Nothing too major. I'm just harassed with that Reaper. Obviously, like you were talking about earlier, Cosmic Sapphire is the Zerg map, but is one that maybe Clem fares better on than other Terrans.
Yeah. Important to note also, the ace match will be on Tropical, which is Clem's least favorite map. So so winning before the ace match is even more important. Like, winning before the ace match is super crucial for Team Liquid here. Not only do they get ahead of Kai'Zi, but also they're probably going to lose the ace match. So yeah, at 2-0 here is almost necessary.
Well, lots of pressure on Clem. Got something done as they poke around with the Reaper and a couple of Hellions, still just looking to see what he can do early on. So he drop a little grenade and splitting those queens apart. And yeah, just gonna see a Hellions and the Reaper coming through the left. It feels like Clem's had a lot of matches this season where he's just needed a 2-0 against the Zerg, because it was the same last week when they played onside. Clem got the first against Solar, he needed one more to win without the ace, and obviously they went to the ace and Mara came out, and ZvT, Mara, 6 minutes, it was done. So yeah, Clem and Liquid find themselves in these positions repeatedly, apparently.
Yeah, I just checked. He actually did win Cosmic against Solar there that
was
week.
The first map,
yeah,
and then it was Tropical second.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's also a little bit more difficult to 2-0 in this in non-mirror matchups, obviously because of the loser's pick.
Yeah, loser's pick is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Designed to create drama. Give the disadvantaged player a better chance. The Hellions still won't do much, but he has the Liberator. Of course, Clem, one of the best when it comes to being annoying with this Liberator, minimizing shots it takes, and this Queen has to be careful. Takes a couple shots as it only gets one off itself. Going to replace the Lib to scare the Queen again, but now the Spore is done, so the Lib's going to have to really dance around, and it will begin to do so. And at the same time, those Hellions, they had a mineral line right there. He's afraid. He thought there was Lings nearby, but there was not.
Yeah, there was not. They're chilling in between the bases.
Wow. That was a big moment that Clem could have had, but again, responsibility. He's a responsible player, and he says, I respect my opponent. I know he's probably prepared and isn't going to take the risk.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. After game 1, especially if you just have an even early game, you should be fine. He also went straight into Widow Mine, so he's gambling a little bit that there is no roaches. Although he saw there was no second gas in the main, so I think it's a fair call to make. And yeah, he's just gonna play a very long game with a lot of Widow Mines, and then Reynor is probably gonna try to get into Lurkers again. So let's see how this first double medevac drop does.
Medevac's loading up and starting to move onto the map, maybe setting up a bit of harass here as the Hellions move forward and getting onto the creep again, just staying active. The Liberator is still in the top left corner, and we do clean up some more of this creep spread. So again, just denying these avenues, although we do have a lot of creep on the left side that's not being touched. But of course, Clem just wants to gain access to this fourth base for now, so this is the most important creep to get rid of. And now the Marines arrive, and Reynor, let's see what he can do about this. The Marines stem straight up to that base. There's no Lings nearby. The Queen starts showing up, and the Queens for now will be enough to push it back as the Lings are counterattacking straight into the natural, apparently. And obviously that's going to cause some damage here, as we might get a look at it at some point in the future. So if it just having a bit of a field day today is, yeah, 5 SCVs, and I'm pulled back pretty quickly, but obviously 5 work is still pretty costly. All of his SCVs had to evacuate, so that's a lot of lost mining time. He's going to get quite a few Ling kills, at least on the tail end of this, as the Lings are going to try and dive for some SCVs at the end, but isn't going to get anything extra.
Yeah, I would say this is super good for Reynor, like this run by, but he actually stayed on a very, very, very low draw count. So he played it super safe. He probably was expecting Clem to just fully YOLO in again once the run by hits, but this time around, Clem didn't go for a tank push. If Clem did the same maneuver that he did last game, in this one, Reynor would have just wiped him on his side of the map and then the game's over. But since Clem didn't have any tanks, he couldn't even fight the queens by themselves, and he didn't even try to go for it, so it worked out decently for Clem.
Yeah, absolutely. As you just see our Marines pushing forward, a few Hellbats will lead the charge, and these Queens start to put some damage onto a couple of these Hellbats here. Clem will regather and just think about how he wants to continue to push, but Reynor about to have that Baneling speed, should have the ability to come forward and clean up a little bit soon. As for a moment, I thought Clem was about to pull a Björn, gets that +2 armor first, but he does remember the attack as well.
Yeah, very important. Usually he does that attack first, doesn't he? So this was a little weird. Maybe he didn't have the money when he
They've all started this. Like, it happens all the time now. Everyone starts armor first. I don't know why. I still haven't figured it out.
It's a hipster thing?
Yeah, it's literally happening all the time.
I mean, it's definitely a mistake. It's just muscle memory. Like, Björn also knows it.
Yeah,
he just said it's hard to change.
Yeah. I can understand it as these queens just going to take a fight. A lot of SCVs go down picture in picture. I mean, Reynor has lost some drones in the meantime, though, so it's not exactly clean on either side of the map. Both players taking some damage, and Clem running here probably could just get in the medevacs. I mean, he's low HP on these Marines. It feels like jumping inside probably would have been a decent call. Yeah, Clem, good to get those 7 drones, otherwise this would have been a little bit out of reach of Reynor economy, but now still within kind of touching distance, right? 14 workers, you got some mules. Clem shouldn't be too worried. I believe it's a 4th base. It's ready to move into position shortly as well, so I think Clem should be all right in that regard. But Reynor obviously is holding off these attacks and is now getting a chance to get his tech on the field. Hydra Den is on its way in.
Yeah, and that just means there's not going to be Hydras with upgrades for quite a while, so I think this position is still very good for Clem because he can trade super well. Like, just pure Ling Bane against Biomine is very, very difficult to get good trades in, and he's already down a lot in army value, so, and army supply as well. So yeah, once Clem starts splitting up and once some Clark starts pushing on both sides of the map, it's going to be pretty difficult for Reynor. The one thing that's really nice for Reynor is that Clem never pushed towards the left side, so there's still a lot of creep that he has to go through, a lot of scans that he has to use. They're not going to be mules. And that will also buy him some space on the right side of the map, because there was basically no creep there whatsoever.
Okay, come on, Mayan's going to come unloading and just try and get some work kills. As they burrow up, they get a couple, they get 3, and they get an overload and 1 more, so not the worst, but not the best either, so reasonable down the middle. As you see, more Widowmines trying to drop in, but Reynor dealing with it well as Clem using this as a bit of a distraction push. Immediate counterattack by Reynor. Going to start trying to hit this mineral line. As the last Widowmine, the main, not going to get burrowed. Clem busy getting back home. Nothing lost for Clem, just a bunker.
Yeah, that was really good for Reynor though. Like, if you play very Ling Bane heavy, killing 5 Widowmines like that for 4 drones is super nice. Although these really didn't have to shoot again. That's obviously a mistake. He kind of misjudged that one. So 9 drone kills overall for the Widowmines, a little bit more decent now. And Reynor actually has this run-by setup that he can now use as a flank. So if Clem kites towards the right side, he might miss the pickup. Okay, he didn't go from the high ground. I wish he would have just stayed there.
Yeah, if he just came in from the upper right instead of across the bridges, then he would have had maybe the block, stop the escape, and Clem would have been in maybe a lot of trouble. Like you said, maybe not being able to get the lift off in time. And that could have been problematic as it Widowmine gets split away from, so Reynor not going to take the damage from that. As Clem gets the full evacuation off, and again, just those random Widowmines around the map, just looking for those connections, finding a few bits and pieces here and there. And Clem going to be defensive here as Reynor's the one setting up to attack into this base. Let's see how it goes as he pushes forward. Ling Bane Hydra. Clem is fully unloaded. A couple initial Widowmines go off. Bane's going to get straight through for the mineral line, and that's going to hit a cluster of SCVs. Clem just wants to get past his Sim City so he can try and spread out and fight. He actually didn't get the SCVs I thought he would.
Yeah, but his army is still massive, and there's no Widowmines left here. All these Marines are in one-shot baneling range because they've already been stimmed multiple times. A lot of medevacs went down here as well, and this attack by Reynor, even though it was quite committed, he delayed his hive very much so. It worked out quite nicely. He got 11 SCVs, and he traded out the army super well. He's now almost even in resources lost. That just shows how bad these last couple of trades were for Clem, and honestly, the lack of medevacs and Widowmines there really does it.
Yeah.
Reynor just attacks and kills him. That was very unexpected.
Yeah, basically the Widowmine drops we saw a minute or two ago might have had a big impact there, right? Medevacs and mines going down, not being